Hello, fellow multicultural educators. My name is Marco Pinon-Farah. You can call me Marco, and this is my culture bag, my backpack, which I'll be sharing with you guys. I want to start with language. Spanish and English are my first languages. I learned Spanish at home with my father. He was born and raised in Mexico, and English at home with my mother, who was born and raised in Canada. So language is always a point of emphasis and focus. And I was very fortunate because of that. They had me attend a bilingual school till I graduated high school. So I spent about half of my day in Spanish, half in English, and along the way I was allowed to pick up some other languages and choose to study them as well. So I chose French and Portuguese, which I'll admit I don't really speak well anymore, but I can understand enough of a conversation to know kind of what's going on. And that really stoked in me a fire, a passion for languages, reading, writing, and understanding different languages. So in my cultural upbringing, language was very important. And even more recently, I've had some fun exploring and learning other languages. ASL, and German, and Chichewa, which is one of the main languages spoken in Malawi in Southeast Africa, where I spent about half of 2014 in Malawi working. And it's been really a big part of my identity, my cultural understanding, my interest in languages, and how that can shape an individual. So to share that, I wanted to share this artifact, this book, El Narco Corrido. It's a book about a specific subgenre of Mexican music, the Narco Corrido. The corrido is an oral history. It's a classic Mexican folk song. And the Narco Corrido is that style, but with the subject matter being related to some of the issues that have arisen with the rise of the drug cartels. I wanted to share this. It's a book that's important to me because of my undergraduate research and my thesis, but I love reading and I love learning other languages, and this was just one way I wanted to represent that. My second artifact will be related to my ethnicity. Racially, I am white, I am light complected, but ethnically I'm a Mexican American. Not fully white American, not fully Mexican, but fortunately I've never felt rejected. I've felt embraced by my Mexican family and community as a part of that community, which is important to me. I do identify as a Mexican American. It shapes my values, my understanding, my beliefs, the way I interpret art and music, the way I speak. And to represent that, I wanted to share a classic Mexican game. I was born and raised in the United States, but I spent most of my time when I wasn't in school in Mexico with my relatives, and we would play games together. And one of the games was this, Loteria. Many of my classmates, if you are Mexican or Mexican American, this game's probably familiar. Loteria, or lottery, it's like bingo, but instead of numbers, we have images that we match. So the sun, the moon, a trumpet, things like that. The reason I wanted to share this was one of the things that's really cool about these games within my culture, being a Mexican American, is they're really you can play them across generations. So I'd play this game with my aunt and my cousin and my grandmother. So there wasn't as much of a divide between the generations, which was a really special part for me to grow up with that culture and to really be able to learn good and bad from the older generations and the younger generations. And it really created a deep bond in our family. So I wanted to share this as an example of a game we might play. When it comes to food, this is important. Mexican and Mexican American families like food that have a lot of texture and flavors mixed together. It's a big part of our culture, not just the nourishment, but spending time as a family, being in each other's presence. It's a communal experience. It's a sacred experience. And so I learned a lot about my culture as a Mexican American from watching my grandmother, who'd wake up before 6 a.m. and start cooking so that all of us would have lunch and dinner, and if anyone were to drop by unannounced, there was always food in the house. She was the definition of family matriarch. She brought people together. She brings people together. And so one of the things I want to share is my favorite meal, elotes en vaso, corn in a cup. Very, very easy to make. Corn, butter, Mexican cream, cotija cheese, which you crumble, chile and lime juice, and you eat it out of a cup. This was also a cultural experience because we spent a lot of time walking around by my grandmother's house, and we'd grab lunch at one of the street vendors. So street food is a big part of the culture from where my family's from in Mexico, which is the state of Chihuahua. Food, a big deal, bringing people together. So I chose elotes, corn. When it comes to traditions that we celebrate, one of the traditions that really sticks with me is Nochebuena, or Christmas Eve, the day before Christmas, which I could argue is more important than Christmas because it's the time when the whole family comes together. It's a homecoming. Whether you live in another city, another state, another country, we all gather at my grandmother's and we would share a meal and exchange gifts and celebrate the ending of a year, mourn things that were lost that year, but also look forward to what's coming with hope, with expectation. A big part of Mexican and Mexican-American culture is Nochebuena. So I chose this ornament which says, Tío Marco's First Christmas, Uncle Marco's First Christmas. It was given to me by my brother and my sister-in-law, who are both born and raised in the United States to both white parents. And they gave me this as a gift that we give on Christmas to each other. We share ornaments, we give each other ornaments, and this one is a gift from my 1-year-old niece, who was only about 5 months old at the time, and it's a screenshot of the first time we all FaceTimed with her when I'm living here in California and they live back on the East Coast. So Christmas, Nochebuena, is a big deal for our family, and sharing these ornaments is something we look forward to each year. Finally, music. I'm going to share with you a corrido, a classic oral history about the state where my family's from in Mexico. I'm going to pull it up on my phone, and it's called the Corrido de Chihuahua, the folk song of Chihuahua, just to give you an idea of the style of music and the type of singing that goes with it, and I hope you enjoy it. Fade it out. If you want to hear more corridos, just Google Corrido de Chihuahua. Follow the links. Enjoy it. Thank you, Dr. Branch, for giving us this opportunity. What a fun project this has been, and I'm excited to see everybody else's, learn more about you, where you're from, what cool traditions you have. Thank you again. My name is Marco Pinon, and I appreciate your time.